Thank you, Madam President. And I do want to thank my friend and colleague, Senator Capito of West Virginia, for her leadership in bringing Senate Republicans to the floor to talk about what is a very important issue to all of our constituents, the safety and the security of our great nation. Joe Biden created a crisis that has now turned into a complete catastrophe, one a mere photo op at a cleaned-up site in Texas won't fix. In just 2 years under President Biden, over 4 million illegal immigrants have crossed the southern border, 151 who are on the terror watch list. And to top that off, we know of at least 1.2 million individuals who evaded the authorities. Those are the individuals we call the gotaways. This border catastrophe is so much more than a flood of illegal immigrants hoping to jump the legal immigration line to get in the door. An open border is an invitation for mischief. It's a drug lord's dream. In my home state of Iowa, drug overdoses among young people have risen 120% in the last few years. According to the state's Division of Criminal Investigation, there were 4 times the amount of fentanyl pills disguised as prescription drugs in 2022 as compared to the previous year. Madam President, we must act now to counter this deadly fentanyl epidemic. We as lawmakers should make the distribution of fentanyl resulting in death punishable by federal felony murder charges. It's past time the consequences for intentionally inflicting an overdose fits the crime. The cartels producing and smuggling this deadly drug into the United States are also funneling a significant number of illegal firearms and weapons, leading to barbaric violence. Just last week in California, a family of 6, including a 10-month-old baby girl, was killed in a drug cartel execution. And unfortunately, the suspects are still at large. Folks, this death and devastation cannot continue. In the coming weeks, I'm looking forward to leading a bicameral delegation to the California-Mexico border. There we plan to hear directly from Customs and Border Protection personnel about fentanyl and their ongoing drug interdictions. We'll tour the port in San Diego, the epicenter for fentanyl trafficking into the United States, and get a firsthand look at the dangerous and critical work our Border Patrol agents are doing day in and day out. I anticipate a common theme in all of our conversations: the need to physically secure our border, something my colleagues on the other side of the aisle used to support. In 2007, then Senator Joe Biden argued, quote, "No great country can say it's secure without being able to secure its borders." In 2010, Senator Chuck Schumer supported border security and agreed the border lacked, quote, "the resources to fully combat the drug smugglers, gun runners, human traffickers, money launderers, and organized criminals that seek to do harm to innocent Americans along our border." Amen, folks, I agree with both of them. But where is that same attitude now, when the southern border has become immensely more dangerous, more permeable, and more lethal? Madam President, at every single one of my town halls over the past 3 weeks, and in dozens of interviews with Iowa media, I was asked about the crisis at the southern border. So to those on the left who say this is just a Republican stunt, I think you better get out of the Beltway and into Middle America, hear directly from the people you're supposed to serve, and you'll quickly find out it's no stunt, it's reality. Iowa families want solutions. They want safety, and they want to curtail the ever-increasing access to deadly drugs for their children, and they are not alone. The American people want a solution. In fact, over a majority of Americans, 73%, according to one Pew Research poll, say they believe we need to increase security along the U.S.-Mexico border. It's a great place to start, a place to find common ground. In fact, there are leftover border materials from the Trump administration just lying out in the desert. Materials that taxpayers have paid for that are just collecting dust. And get this, the federal government is actually paying. Yes, they have hired contractors, and they spend our tax dollars to do this, to watch over those materials that are lying there in the desert. Without a secure border, we cannot have a larger conversation about reforming our immigration system. So maybe, just maybe, a good place to start is for this administration to allow states who want to complete the border barrier to do so, instead of taking them to court. Besides, doesn't Biden's Justice Department have enough on their hands right now? So I agree with the gentle lady from West Virginia that this is an issue that needs to be addressed.